Gentlemen, for the reminder from one of our founding fathers, and appreciate your service to the citizens in Georgia. With that, I'd like to yield to another member from the great state of Georgia, Mr. Loudermilk, for as much time as he may consume.
And I thank my colleague from Indiana for reserving this time and giving me a few minutes to speak upon this very important and critical issue. Mr. Speaker, as I'm standing here, I see the words liberty engraved at the base of the rostrum. One of the great principles of this nation, one of the principles of which our founding fathers sought to take on in the field of battle the most powerful military force in the history of the world, for an idea, a principle of liberty. One of the great influencers on our founding fathers was Charles Montesquieu, an 18th century philosopher and judge. And he said that when the legislative and the executive power is vested in one person or one body, there can be no liberty. Many of my colleagues that stood here before I came this evening have testified to the role that the president has taken upon himself to become both the legislator and the executive in this matter. In fact, on the White House website, in his statement, he said that he was going to have to take action even though some of the gaps in our gun laws could only be fixed by legislative action by Congress, but because Congress failed to act, he is going to have to take action. Clearly, he is admitting to stepping into the role, the constitutional role of this body and the body on the other side of this building. When that happens, there can be no liberty. Now, the president has said he must take this action because Congress has failed to act. No, Congress did act, but Congress did not act in the way that he wanted us to. And because we didn't act in the way that he specifically wanted, now he has to take action. And the action he says that he must take is to make America safe. Now, many have talked about the constitutional issues, and clearly he is taking unconstitutional approach in this decision that he has made, in this action. But I want to highlight the ultimate hypocrisy of his statement that his actions are to make America safe. This body has taken actions to which he has ignored that would truly make America safe. Back in February, as a member of the Committee on Homeland Security, I traveled to the border, our open and porous southern border. And I traveled side by side with Border Patrol agents, Coast Guard, local law enforcement who have committed their time, their lives. It is their mission to secure that border. We saw that the border is controlled by illegal cartels that smuggle human traffic, they smuggle narcotics, they smuggle drugs across the border into this country. Now, if guns just arbitrarily killed people, then maybe the action that the president is taking would have some effect. But I've been around guns all my life and I have yet to have a gun jump up and just arbitrarily start shooting anyone. Guns don't kill people, people kill people. And bad people that use guns come into this country, and often those guns are smuggled in through the southern border. Now, as a result of being on the border, we realize that the only way to secure that border is we have to have a combination of physical barriers, of technology, but most importantly, boots on the ground. We've talked about building fences and building walls. Well, I had one Border Patrol agent said, those are really ineffective unless you have boots on the ground. You build a 12-foot wall, the cartels buy 13-foot ladders. The cartels use high technology. They use engineers to build tunnels. They use aircraft to drop contraband on our side of the border and smuggle people, many people who are intent to do ill to people in this nation, as we saw in San Francisco earlier this year. But the president has basically ignored Congress's call to secure the border. Instead of putting more Border Patrol agents on the border to secure the border, he wants to bring 200 more ATF agents to investigate American citizens. Just a few weeks ago, we dealt with the threat of ISIS and Al-Qaeda that says they're going to exploit our refugee resettlement program to get operatives into this nation. to conduct terrorist attacks against this nation. This Congress, out of this body, passed a bill to pause that program until we could fully vet every person. The president decided he would ignore the call of Congress, and he pursued on with the refugee program. As a member of the Homeland Security Committee, I was able to question the Secretary of Homeland Security and the Director of the FBI, saying, if we do bring these refugees in, how are you going to monitor them? And the FBI said, we don't have the resources to monitor 10,000 new refugees coming into this nation. But yet, in his executive order, the president wants to hire 230 administrators, administrative personnel, to conduct background checks instead of providing us with more FBI agents to investigate terrorist activities. You tell me who is wanting to make America safe. He also has proposed $500 million toward mental health care and eventually tie mental health assessments to background checks. I applaud that. But at the same time, we have thousands of soldiers coming back from war areas suffering from PTSD that this administration and the Veterans Administration has ultimately abandoned. And finally, he wants to use taxpayer dollars and resources to research and test smart gun technology. Well, maybe that is a technology in the future that could be applicable. But yet, the TSA has postponed time and time again putting in new scanning technology that is desperately needed at our airports to stop contraband and banned items to getting through to our nation's airlines and into our transportation system. Once again, that has been postponed. Mr. Speaker, I say that the president, in his call that he wants to make America safer, is making America more dangerous because he continues to ignore what the will of the people is, and what this Congress is calling for is that we need to close our borders, we need to put more FBI agents investigating terrorist activities, we need to take care of our war veterans, we need to stop the influx of refugees that we know are going to be exploited by our enemies, and we also need to invest in technologies to make our transportation safe and secure. With that, Mr. Speaker, I yield back the balance of my time.